You expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Goldfinger.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Half-Ass Movie Reviews as we continue in our James Bond reviews. And this week we're doing Goldfinger.
Finally, a good one.
Yeah, you like this one, right?
Well, let's not toss around the word like. I liked it more than the others.
I can understand that.
It wasn't bad, but we'll get into that.
Okay. Well, this one, they changed directors. We got Guy Hamilton directing this one.
Okay.
And this one is the third in the franchise overall. James Bond is back. Movie had a $3 million budget. So that was the most at the time. Before, actually, that was a combined of the first two movies' budgets. So they got some leeway on that,
Right.
which is good. And this is actually one. This is one of the movies where they finally got into the gadgets, and I really love that.
We finally see the car. We finally get some cool gadgets. We get some cool scenes. You mentioned the budget. It definitely looks like it was shot much better. Overall, and actually, did Sean Connery look younger in this movie?
When you pointed that out, then I looked. It makes me wonder if they just didn't have enough money in the makeup budget for the first two movies. A lot of things I have a lot of questions about the budget for the first two movies compared to this, because this one, like you said, a lot better looking.
It's definitely a big step up, and definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, this really nails the James Bond structure of the movies too, where we open with a before credits scene that really doesn't have any part of the movie.
Right.
Then we go into our typical credits opening where they show the movie pretty much while it's being reflected on the girl's body, and we hear Goldfinger. The theme song's awesome, by the way.
Yes, it is. And, this is only a mistake to me. Now, Odd Job, right?
You know what his name is in fucking Austin Powers?
No, I was trying to think of that.
Random Task.
Random Task?
He looks exactly like him, too.
He does. They did nail that.
Yeah.
Austin Powers did a fantastic
And
job. Austin, I can appreciate Austin Powers so much more now after going back and seeing these early Bond films that apparently I've never seen.
Yeah, when Goldfinger says to when Goldfinger says to James Bond, he's like, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die."
Yeah.
I always think of Dr. Evil where he goes, "No, Mr. Powers, I expect you to die."
Yeah, they definitely pulled a lot in Austin Powers, and I think we should really pepper those in into this.
Watching these always makes me in the mood to watch Austin Powers. It really is just how much they stole from those
it's
movies.
amazing.
It really is.
Arguably better movies. More enjoyable at the very least.
This one, at least I can say, is well made. It's a well-made action movie. Straightforward plot.
Yes.
Just a lot. This one's a lot more fun. We have James Bond actually finally banging out some one-liners right at the beginning when he knocks the guy in the bathtub.
Shocking.
Yes. Yeah. I'm very excited to get a couple more years into these films, and then I think we'll really kick it into high gear.
Yeah,
this is definitely a step in the right direction compared to the first two were kind of hard for me to get through, and I was really dreading watching this one, but it wasn't as terrible.
I think your enjoyment will increase as we keep going forward.
Yes.
I had made a lot of notes in this movie just about some ridiculous shit that goes on in it, because some of the stuff, I mean, it's the 60s, I wasn't around, but just so unbelievable. James Bond, the amount of time it takes for him to close the deal with a woman is insane.
Yeah, it's just the charm. He's able to just...
He broke into a woman's hotel room, snuck up behind her, and ends up sleeping with her.
Yep, for some guys, that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
I've gone 31 years, and I've only been able to persuade 2 women.
All right.
And I married one of them.
Good for you. I don't know.
Good for her.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if we should be bragging about that, but
What do you mean?
only 2?
That's a pretty solid number.
Maybe in one night, but
Well, James Bond, I'm sure, has done that. Because in this movie, I couldn't... 3, 4 women? I don't know.
Well, he's Bond. He's got all the gadgets. He can get it done, He's got the car.
Oh, speaking of which, we didn't talk about it because another name from freaking Austin Powers that they make fun of in this name, Pussy Galore.
But yeah, now that wasn't even a joke.
No, he makes it. He's like, when he wakes up on the plane and she introduces himself, and he's like, "Oh, I must be dreaming." Like that, 'cause no one's name is Pussy Galore.
Yeah,
And then
I thought that was. I was like, huh.
And then in Austin Powers, the girl's name that's a spoof on that name.
There was a lot of vagina.
A lot of vagina, yeah.
Oh, what was the other one? Ivana Humpalot.
Yeah.
And what was the third one?
And Gold, I don't know, that was Beyonce's character. But this, Goldmember is such a spoof of Goldfinger.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely. Except, in Goldmember, it's called Goldmember because of his member is gold, if you remember.
Yeah.
The gold shines. But this guy loves fucking gold, man.
Yeah, a little weird.
It is definitely a little weird. He's got everyone wearing gold. He's melting fucking gold everywhere. He's basically willing to give his life up for gold.
Right, yeah.
It's a little more than greed for Goldfinger, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's dive into the film, shall we? So like I said, this movie opens with a cold open. James is, I don't know exactly where he is. Oh, okay, so it just says he's in Latin America. So he says, after destroying...
Coming down the stairs?
Yeah, and like you see him setting up the bombs in that one room. Then he throws on the white suit with the...
Yes.
Which I always think of... Same white suit. I think it's inspired by in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. Harrison Ford has a white suit on, very similar to that. Similar setting. Also, I think in Latin America, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, we see him do that. Then we see him, he schmoozes that girl again real quick. Goes up to the room again. This girl's trying to set him up. He's got to really be careful because he's always almost being set up by these people.
Right.
Luckily, he looks into the girl's eye and sees the reflection of the guy coming up behind him.
Turns around and uses her as a human shield.
Yeah, immediately. She took a fucking hit.
Well, that's what you get.
I know. That's exactly you deserve that. You had that coming. Don't be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then he knocks him in the bathtub, electrocutes him. Shocking.
Yeah.
And then he skates off and he has to take a flight to Miami.
Yes.
And then this is where we see the opening credits and this is where we hear the theme song and they're reflecting the plot onto somebody's body, parts and everything like that.
This heart is cold.
Very.
They did that again?
They do that. Yeah, it was weird, right? They did do that, but this time they actually had, instead of the Bond theme, they had the Goldfinger theme playing over it.
Yes.
Which they use the Goldfinger theme throughout.
Well, no, every movie has a different song. It's not the Bond theme over the intro. It's always got like weird songs.
It's always whatever the theme of the movie is, but the first two movies used the Bond theme.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then this is the first one because From Russia with Love had a theme song, but it was in the end credits. This one's in the opening credits. So yeah, he's got to take a flight to Miami. And when he gets to Miami, this is where we see Felix Leiter again. Remember him from the first one? He's with the guy he met on the island in Jamaica, in Kingston.
Yes.
The guy who works for the CIA.
Yep.
So Felix Leiter is around.
What was he doing there?
He was in Miami, or he's there for Goldfinger. They're there to keep an eye on Goldfinger because if Goldfinger is in Miami, he's over there ripping off people at a hotel playing cards.
Okay. Yes, and that's what the girl was doing up on the balcony.
Yeah, she was basically just radioing in what cards the other guy had because they were playing gin, which I have no idea how to play. But apparently, Goldfinger's been taking this guy for a ride. Mm-hmm. And
well, that's why he liked the one side of the table so she could see the cards from the balcony with the binoculars.
Yeah, makes sense.
Cheating.
He's a cheat. He was always cheating. When he fucking goes golfing with Bond, he's cheating too. Mm-hmm. Win on your own. He's such a competitive fuck.
Well, he's not competitive. He just likes.
But he just likes to win, right? Isn't that what the girl said to him? We see Bond go upstairs, finds out where the room is that she's in there, basically looking at Goldfinger, and he radios down the Goldfinger like, "Oh, you're caught."
Well, he peruses.
He schmoozes the girl.
Yeah, the orderly or the housekeeping lady. He takes her thing. She's like, "Oh, that's Goldfinger's room." He pulls it right off her hip, opens the door, and says, "Thank you." She just walks on her way and doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
No big, whatever.
And again, sneaks up behind this girl, she, that's pretty bad. That's not a good thing to do. And then, she falls for him. She's like, "Oh, he pays me." And then he makes sure, that's it, right? He's not paying you to sleep with him, right? And then he makes sure of that because he doesn't want Goldfinger's sloppy seconds.
I guess.
And they end up, getting it on. And then Odd Job sneaks in there. One hit to the back, by the way.
Yes.
Knocks him out.
Yep.
And then when he wakes up, he comes to and he walks out into the room. And what does he see?
This girl's painted gold.
Solid gold. He was dipped.
You think she was dipped?
I think she was dipped in gold.
I'm thinking a paintbrush. Maybe a roller.
It was on there solid, though. And if you heard in the next scene, she died because her entire body was covered and there was no way for her skin to breathe.
Is that what they said?
That's what they said. And in case you're wondering,
Well, if you noticed it on the sheet, it was on the sheet because it was paint.
okay,
And
I didn't notice it on the sheet.
I just think that's a lot of work to dip her in gold and then put her back in the bed.
Well, I was picturing them bringing in like a gold tub into the room, and then they would dip her, because I assume she's unconscious, and then put her on the bed.
Either way, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a
And
lot.
it's expensive.
It is. Well, do you see how much gold he has? This guy's got fucking gold for days.
See, are you sure that's right? Because I'm pretty sure it was just paint.
It could be just painted. I don't know how they got.
it's
Either way, or when he walks in.
100% it is just paint.
Yeah, when he
But-
walks in, she's already however she turned gold, whether she was dipped or painted.
I understand that, but I'm saying for Goldfinger, whatever the hell
Goldfinger's in this one.
Goldfinger, for him to waste all that gold and just the resources to get this done, it doesn't make sense. And
It does make sense because he's sending a message, not only to James Bond but to her. Don't be a fucking cheater. Like that. That's basically. Even though he cheats, he's like, you stepping out on me with James Bond of all people. I just met him down in the fucking lobby. He's a piece of shit. Although for some reason, I guess they meet a little bit later and he doesn't remember him. I don't know. I thought that was a little weird. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of like little things like that. But again, about being dipped in gold. Also, I wanted to note. You can't die from that. That's something they made up for this movie. Your skin doesn't need to breathe like that. That doesn't make any sense. It's something made up for the movie.
Right.
So,
Okay.
nothing we need to worry about there.
So you're saying I can dip myself in gold and
Yes.
be good.
So, after being dipped in gold, Bond goes back to, headquarters. He sees Moneypenny, and, Moneypenny throws his hat on the rack. I don't know if you noticed it, but it's clearly an advantage. She throws the hat, they cut to the hat landing on the rack.
I did not catch that.
No, then they go into M's office, and M tells him, what he's got to be doing, and he goes down the Q branch. This is the first time we see the actual Q branch. He's walking around.
All the
and
gadgets.
I
and
love
shit.
that. The guy who plays Q is awesome. He plays that role all the way up to Pierce Brosnan.
Really?
Yes, if I remember correctly. So he was in that role for a long time.
He did look familiar.
Yeah, because honestly, he really didn't age that much. Like, he's already got the gray hair here. I think he only stopped playing the role because he passed away.
That'll do it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't bring people back after they're dead. Not yet. It's happening pretty soon, though. What? So anyway, this is the first time we also see the DB5, the Aston Martin DB5. What do you think of that car, by the way? Would you buy that?
Very cool car. I actually have a Matchbox car of that was my dad's from when he was a kid, because he was a big fan of that.
Really? Well, that's probably the most iconic Bond car there is that DB5.
Yeah.
And this one's all tricked out with the license plate for every country, I guess he said. It's got an oil slick.
The oil slick, the smoke screen, the bulletproof thing in the back, the guns on each corner.
Yeah, and then you got the
ejectocito. Yeah.
I love that. I love that he did that too. And again, like, it's just setting us up for him to use all of these gadgets throughout the movie.
And when I first saw it, I was like, the oil slick, I was like, oh, that's so corny. Like, everyone does that. But it's like, well, this is actually probably where it originated.
Probably, yeah.
So this is where it all came from. This is where everyone copied it from.
Well, actually, it's funny you said that because they got the cars and there weren't supposed to be that many gadgets, but people on set kept giving them ideas of what to do because Aston Martin gave them two cars. One just like a shell and then one that they could put all the gadgets on. So they just kept getting all these ideas. They originally they weren't going to do an oil slick. They were going to do like spikes that fall out from under the back of the car. But they felt like people in real life might try that, so they didn't try it. I mean, you got to remember, 63 or 64.
Right.
Things are a little bit different.
Now, is this... Do you remember the cartoon Speed Racer?
Yes.
Is that pre... or is that after this?
I think they're around the same time. Speed
that's
Racer
old.
is a 60s cartoon, and then the Wachowskis did a Speed Racer movie. I've never seen it,
I never saw it.
but I actually saw, I think it was on HBO Max yesterday. I've heard bad things, but I've also heard good things.
Because I used to like the cartoon, and he had similar gadgets in the Mach 5.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of those gadgets carry over.
I actually have the Mach 5.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'll go get it.
All right, while Matt gets the Mach 5, yeah, I like the DB5. I think it's a really nice car. I don't think it's the fastest car. Every time they put that Bond car into a Forza game, it never has the highest stats, so I don't think it's the greatest of things. Oh, wow, you really do have it. Did you like this cartoon?
Yeah, I told you I did.
The thing I remember most about the cartoon Speed Racer is it used to play on Speed Vision, the channel Speed Vision.
That I don't remember. But, yeah, I got the Mach 5 in there.
Aha! Wow, boxed up and everything, huh?
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
Yeah, when did you get this?
Long time ago.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can really see that on the camera.
Oh, it'll be zoomed
I'm
in.
gonna look for 99.
Oh, wow. Do you think that's when you got it?
It was made in 99, so I probably got it in or around that time.
Shit.
Yeah, so this is it's the Mach 5 boxed up, never been opened since 1999.
Well, tonight we're going to party like it's 1999.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, with Goldfinger.
Okay.
Well, as we continue on, Goldfinger and Bond go have, a nice casual game of golf. And, of course, he's got random task, or, I'm sorry, odd job. I'm going to get mixed up. It's odd job in here. He's got odd job over there caddying. And we should note, odd job did a nice display of his power. He's got a nice rimmed hat that he can just throw at anything. And
I have questions about that also. Is there a metal ring?
That's what I was honestly going to ask you this question.
A titanium, because obviously it's not possible.
With a regular hat, no.
Even if it had maybe like a titanium metal ring.
I assume
brim.
we have to be talking about some of the thinnest, sharpest steel on the edge of that hat for that to cut. Because he cut the head off a fucking statue.
Well, I mean, you could, if you throw a butter knife with the enough force, you can.
Well, yeah, because of the weight of the head, I assume, and it's
right.
Yeah, I get that.
So, and it's not like it's the brim of the hat has still got the fabric on it. So I'm just thinking there's a titanium plate inside the brim of the hat, and that's how he's throwing it and getting some weight behind it because it's just a fucking hat.
I don't know how he's doing it. It's ridiculous. And then not only that, but he's got Oddjob out there fucking with the caddy thing. He's out there caddying, still wearing his Oddjob fucking outfit. And then
it's just a suit.
Yeah, it's a suit and a hat, but it looks like a butler. And then you got Goldfinger out there.
That's what he is.
Hey, well,
he's a bodyguard / butler.
He does a lot of work for him. I hope he's paying him well.
Yeah.
And then you got fucking Goldfinger down there. You see what he's wearing?
Yeah, that was a ridiculous outfit.
Ridiculous. I get that he's going golfing and you're supposed to look ridiculous, but he looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy his outfit at all, but what can I say? And we also get a nice little scene where Bond finds out that he's cheating, and what does he do? No, he decides to play a little game with him. Him and his caddy, and they end up in the end getting his $5,000 because James Bond bet $5,000 worth of gold with Mr. Goldfinger because he wanted it real bad.
Yes.
Because, he starts fiending when he sees gold, so.
Yeah.
So they play this game, and then Goldfinger gets upset that he lost, pays him out, writes that check in the back of his fucking car on his, nice little land there.
Mm-hmm. That Bond took this cool little gadget out of his shoe and put the tracking device on the car.
Yep, which I did like the tracking device. I also like how they had the little one, too, that you could put, all that stuff. And this is when they're climbing up the hill. Did you notice that they were racing up? He was racing that Mustang up the hill? Mm-hmm. What did you think of the drive? I think the driving scenes were much better in this.
They got better, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then he goes up there. He breaks into Goldfinger's lair. I don't know. What did you think of Goldfinger's lair? I don't know what his lair was. He had horses on it. He had a bunch of a room where all this gold, and then he was just sneaking around. And James Bond overhears Mr. Goldfinger talking about Operation Grand Slam when Mr. Lang, I believe his name was.
This is when he's got all the guys in the room. It looks like a ski lodge.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about this. Well, first, before he brings everybody in to discuss his big magical plan, he overhears him talking about Operation Grand Slam, and I was just thinking to myself, if I know Goldfinger like I think I do, he's talking about going and killing a Grand Slam at Denny's. That's what I was thinking.
That's what you thought?
That's what I thought.
I don't know if Denny's was around at this time.
I'd be pretty stupid if they weren't. They basically are based on old-fashioned diners.
Yeah, they're based on old-fashioned diners. Doesn't mean they're old-fashioned.
No, that's true. But I'm just saying, I think Goldfinger would definitely
And I don't think they had diners in London.
Well,
I think that's an American thing.
Well, they weren't in London.
They weren't in America.
They were in Baltimore.
Oh, they were in Miami, actually.
They were in Miami first, and then... No, they were in Miami, and then I believe...
Didn't we see Buckingham Palace?
Did they go back to England? I'm trying to remember where his lair was.
I don't know. I just have a tough time...
His lair might have been in... No. Fuck. No, his lair... Everything was...
I have a tough time retaining this.
No, this is... I got a little confused here, I'm not going to lie. It was just... Because they travel, but they never make note where they travel. I think they might have went back to England, and then they went back to America. Okay, and then after this is like while he's sneaking around the lair, he doesn't get caught. But that other girl that he's there, did you see like the other girl who was trying to kill Goldfinger because she was the sister of the girl that who got golded to death?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and then of course, unfortunately, she dies pretty damn fast too.
Right. Yep.
So the whole family gets wiped out in one big felt swoop. And then this is where we get that awesome chase scene. I love this chase scene through his lair and everything like that, where he gets the guy with the ejector seat. We get the oil slick kill. Which, again, that's just a ridiculous edit. Like, you know, they see the car isn't close to the cliff, and then it cuts to it falling down the cliff and exploding and everything like that.
It was, I can't believe they got him, and then Amira took him out.
I know. Yeah, and the way he and again, one thing through this chasing, it's the '60s, but the way they speed up the footage is like it's so obvious.
Yeah, I was like, oh well, that's just fast forwarded.
Yeah, because when he does crash the car, it looks just so abnormal. It's just like he just like jetted into the wall.
Because he saw a mirror.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it took. I mean, listen, it's a different time.
It is a different
mirrors
time.
can be dangerous. I'm sure a mirror doesn't like your face every time you look into it, right? Think about the mirror. Stop being so selfish all the time. And then this is when Bond gets caught, and this is also when we, somehow he's able to finagle his way, and he can overhear this big meeting you were talking about.
Yes. And it looks like they're in a ski lodge or something, and then he's got that cool model that comes up to the floor.
Yeah, he had all these plans all laid out and built for him to show these people. And do you hear all these people talking the whole time? Like, they're terrible actors, all these guys.
Goldfinger, I made a delivery. Where is my money?
I made a delivery too.
Yeah, they were just talking about how they wanted their money. And
yeah. Just like, okay, generic villains 101.
Yep.
At least, like, the guy who plays Goldfinger at least has a personality. None of these guys do. They're terrible. They're just a bunch of jokes.
Yeah, again, it's overall not a fantastic movie. It's definitely better than the previous two. But I think once we start trudging down the road...
Yeah. You got to remember that this is the movie, this is one, like you said earlier, like, this is one of the movies that started it. Like, all these tropes that we know, it started here.
Yeah.
You know, all the one-liners, all that stuff just started here. And one thing about Pussy Galore, I love that she's a pilot. You know, she could fly that plane.
She had the whole group of Pussy Galore.
Yeah, well, that was all part of his plan, because his plan is actually genius when you really think about it. Goldfinger's plan, he's right. He's like, because this is like what happened in Chernobyl. If you make all that gold radioactive for, I think he said 58 years, his gold value goes up. It's how an economy works, supply and demand. So that's why he wants to do it, because he knows you can't take the gold out of Fort Knox.
Right.
You know, you ain't getting. And also, when they wanted to, because they filmed some of this at Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Like, they were able to fly those planes over it, but nobody saw inside Fort Knox. You're not allowed. That's where the real gold is. That's not a lie. That's where they keep the gold supply for the U.S. is at Fort Knox, or at least they did in the 60s.
Yeah.
So that is all in a studio. That's not the real Fort Knox.
Right.
Where they filmed that at.
Interesting.
So the guy who created the production designer created all those gold behind the cell walls and everything like that. He just imagined that.
Right.
So,
okay. So we don't know what it actually looks like.
No, he said it's probably a lot more disappointing in real life compared to what he imagined. Because he said in his head he was just picturing gold stacked to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah. More than likely that's not the case.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. And now at this point in the film, James Bond is basically just being held hostage, but he's kind of like, I don't know, Goldfinger's like kind of like just chauffeuring around because he doesn't want to kill him, but we do see him attempt to kill him, and this is when he finds out that he's valuable with the laser. The book, it wasn't a laser, it was a buzzsaw going up the desk, up to like...
That's what I thought it was going to be, and then I saw the laser, I was like, oh, okay, laser.
Yeah, interesting, right? But yeah, they did a camera trick, that's how they were able to make the laser look like that, because it was somebody underneath heating it as they were going across. It's not a real laser splitting that up, if you can believe it.
Really?
Yeah, fake laser.
Fake laser.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, interestingly enough, in case you didn't know that, so yeah, he threatens him, and this is where we get that classic line that he's like, oh, is this supposed to scare me? Is this, oh, do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. And then, Bond, words his way out of it, like, oh, okay, maybe you do have some value, and this is why he's being just locked up and tailored around, because to Felix Leiter and everybody else, they think he's just doing his thing.
Right.
Like he's going to take down Goldfinger from the inside. And I guess he pretty much does, with the help of Pussy Galore, who turns her back on Goldfinger. Mainly because I think she comes to her senses, even though she could be extremely rich.
She could be.
She could be. Goldfinger is a piece of shit.
He is.
So
Sure is.
I don't agree with what he is doing, if I'm being honest.
No.
Because he's a fucking cold-hearted murderer. So, which brings me to the next point, because when he executes his plan, which is to fly these five women, like you said, Pussy Galore's henchwoman.
Right.
He flies them, and they got some tear gas or nerve gas that knocks out all these soldiers. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, that invisible... I think it was like a nerve gas or something.
And this is
and
where
they all just start running.
they don't even like some of them don't even try. Like they all just like gently fall to the ground. Like I saw one guy, they had one shot, you could see him put his hands down so he falls gently to the ground.
Really?
And like but it's like they should have put like a score over it or something because it just looks ridiculous. They're going like groups of people to groups of people and just showing them fall over.
Yeah.
I was just I'm like I get it. It's the '60s and I probably I guess looked cool at the time, but it's not very dramatic. It just looks silly.
Yeah.
But this allows Goldfinger and all his guys to swoop in there. They bring the laser in. They cut the hole in the side of Fort Knox where all the gold is being held. They wheel in the atom bomb or whatever the hell it is. And they set it to detonate in 3 minutes, which I think takes about 25 in the movie.
Yeah, this is where I might have picked up my phone by this point.
You helped. See, actually, I think the ending to this movie is awesome.
Yeah. Again, I had a tough time. Again, if I don't absolutely love it, I'm antsy, and my snacks were gone.
Well, I had the phone in my hand because I was taking notes the whole time, so I had to pay attention because I had to write down everything that was going on and everything I thought that looked good or bad or anything like that.
Yeah, the first half of the movie I got. It was the second half is where I started to lose a little bit of interest.
I think that it does dip a little bit in pacing in the second act, mainly once Bond gets caught until the final act when like the people start falling and we get to see him in there. But when he goes in there, because Bond ends up sneaking in and he ends up fighting with Oddjob.
Okay.
So they end up having this awesome fight. Actually, a really good fight the two of them had. And the way that Bond tricks him and ends up killing Oddjob is like Oddjob throws his hat at this metal bar-looking thing, and Bond takes the electric and puts it against it. And I guess the electric would travel through all of the metal, connected to his hat, because the hat has to have metal on it, and he electrocutes him to death.
I guess it does. I mean...
Pussy Galore tipped off everyone, so now they all start coming in. All the people who got nerve gassed or tear gassed, I guess, start to come back to life.
Yep.
Which is, and once they come back, it's not like, oh, no, it's like, oh, they just get back right on the microphones and like notifying people. Just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Again, I'm just excited to move on to a new one.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, at this point, but then again, Goldfinger grabs a gun and because he tricks them. He puts on a suit to make it look like he's in the United States Army. So then he starts shooting all his guys so that the Army trusts him. And then he shoots all the Army guys. And I'm just like, okay, so, yeah. Goldfinger, real piece of shit.
Yeah, no, he's not the greatest dude.
No, I don't trust him at all. And I don't know why anyone would want to work for him. So anyway, at this point, he somehow...
he paid well.
Oh, he definitely paid well. I feel like he was probably a good employer. I don't know if he offered retirement or 401k plans or anything like that, but... He definitely seems like he's better than anyone who worked for Spectre. He just likes to golf a little bit, and he seems like he's a little bit friendly. Bond is able to... Well, he actually doesn't do it. He doesn't actually disarm the bomb. Somebody else has to come in at the very last second. I believe it was Felix Leiter, and at the very last second, within 10 seconds, they turn it off. But where is Goldfinger? Well, we don't know, so he gets on a flight with Pussy Galore. We think that this is going to be the big happy ending, but who comes out of the cockpit? But Mr. Goldfinger, pointing his gun at James Bond, and James Bond tells him, like, hey, be careful.
All right, yeah, that's a 45 or something like that. If you shoot through me, it'll go through and puncture the fuselage, or go through the plane, and then it'll kill everybody.
Yeah, essentially. But he shoots and it breaks the window, and did you notice how Goldfinger goes out that window after their big fight scene? It just looked ridiculous. But the special effects at the time, what could they do?
It's of the time.
It's of the time. So it sucks him out the window. He dies. The plane is crashing. We don't see it, but I guess Pussy and James got a parachute. They jet out of there, and Bond says to them, like, because they're searching the woods for him, and him and Pussy are about to, they're about to get it on. And James said, "This is no time to be rescued." And he throws the parachute back over them. I assume they have some intercourse, and then that's how our movie ends.
I think that's how they all end, with him banging.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think he did 3 women in this movie. I think that's how many he had in this little experiment. He would have done 4, but she died too fast, the one sister.
Yeah.
So, basically what I was able to gather from this, I really did enjoy this movie, guys. I thought it was definitely, so far, I think it's the best that I've watched so far. I used to say From Russia With Love is probably my favorite of these first 3, but I think actually it's this one. I think this one...
Definitely.
Definitely, right? No,
It's definitely a step in the right direction. It's definitely the best of the 3 so far, but I don't think it's going to hold too much water going forward.
No, either do I. Sean Connery did the best I think he's done in the role so far. I think the one-liners work for him. He's very charming in this. The action scenes, he does a good job in them too. Everything really is just an improvement. The action scenes are a huge improvement over the first one. The first 2, really. Goldfinger is a great villain. He's probably one of the best villains in the franchise, other than some, ridiculous fashion choices by the guy. I don't understand, He's making everyone dress in gold. Like, I don't get the obsession with gold. Gold's a nice color, and I guess it's nice to have gold, but his obsession with it's unhealthy. It's what leads to his demise.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mr. Krabs and money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, greed. But this guy is greedy. Like, he'd rather have the gold. I mean, gold holds value, but I think he likes it.
He loves it.
I think it's more than that for him.
He loves it, actually.
So you have any closing thoughts on this? Like, what are you thinking so far?
I'm thinking that this has been a pretty long adventure already. I'm not in love with these movies. I like Bond overall, in general. I like the franchise. However, I don't think I really like the Connery movies. I think I'm really going to start liking them once we get to Roger Moore, because I think those are the ones that I really know better. And then obviously Pierce Brosnan is my guy. And I haven't seen the Daniel Craig ones yet.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll definitely love the Daniel Craig ones. I'm excited when we get to Pierce Brosnan, too. I'm excited to rewatch the Roger Moore ones, because those were the ones that I didn't personally like.
Really?
Yeah, but it's also been a long time. But I remember, you know what it was? Roger Moore's look just didn't entirely work for me. I think Sean Connery looks like James Bond. Just like I think Pierce Brosnan looks like James Bond.
Yep.
They have like...
That was my problem with Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, he doesn't look like James Bond, but he's a really good actor, and he's actually one of my favorite Bonds. I love Timothy Dalton as James Bond. I love those 2 movies. I wish he would have done more. I'm really excited for you to see the Timothy Dalton James Bond movies. I think you're
I'm
be really
excited to get there, because what are those, the 80s now?
Those are 87 and 89, I believe.
Yeah, see, that's going to be more my speed.
Yeah, some great songs. I was listening to some of the, because the song Living Daylights is awesome. You should definitely check that one out.
Well, when we get there, we'll...
I guess you'll check it out then, right?
Yep.
So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. It was a little bit tougher.
Yeah, this was a tough one. This one was a little bit of it's a mediocre episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, we were like...
I had a tough time with this one. My problem is, if I don't absolutely love what I'm watching, I kind of tune out. I was miles away half the time. John kept looking at me. I had to remember that we were talking about Bond, because again, I just not really too into this one.
It's
just the Sean Connery. I like Sean Connery. I like him in other movies. I just don't really love his Bond movies.
It's crazy because this is what he's most known for. But me and you grew up with him being old already, and and his look really changes.
It does.
And actually one thing in this movie, because there's a scene in here, he has a really good 5 o'clock shadow, and then he shaves it. Because you saw the scene where he's like trying to block the girl from spying on him.
What would you say when you think of Sean Connery? What's your number one Sean Connery movie?
When I think of Sean Connery, I always think of The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade.
Yeah. I know you're not the biggest Indiana Jones guy, but like...
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm thinking maybe The Rock.
The Rock is a big one.
Or
The Hunt for Red October is another big one. What else?
I've never seen that, actually.
Really? That's a great movie.
I think I would
And he plays a Russian, again, but doesn't change his accent.
I think I would like that. That's like on the submarine or something.
Yeah, well, it's Jack Reacher, if I'm correct. Or
yeah, I remember you told me not to get those.
The Hunt for... Well, yeah, because this is why. Because Alec Baldwin's it in one movie, then Harrison Ford, and then I don't even know who did it again after. But like they just keep changing because you get upset when they change actors.
Yeah.
They change actors almost every time there's a fucking Jack Reacher movie.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, and Alec Baldwin's awesome as Jack Reacher, so I have no idea why. And I hope I'm saying.
Alec Baldwin's in trouble right now, right? Or that?
Please tell me you just figured this out because this happened like a year ago now.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
But someone was talking about it the other day. I forget what I heard it on.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I think the Kevin Smith podcast I was listening to. I think because they started shooting again for the movie or something.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't understand. I would just.
But was he cleared of everything?
No, he got charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he going to jail, or did he go to jail?
No, well, he got charged. Like it'll be years before they figure it out and all that stuff because he got charged and like the guy who.
But that's bullshit.
He shouldn't get charged, in my opinion, because. From what it sounds like, he didn't know, but again, I wasn't there. But from what the evidence says, or from what I've heard, is like the armory, the person who put the bullets in the gun, that's the person who made the mistake because the bullets are all supposed to be checked before they go in the gun.
Yeah, you give it to an actor. The actor doesn't know what a fucking gun is. He's just going to do his job. The actor should
what they're getting
should be scot-free.
Yeah, what they're trying to say is he shouldn't have been pointing it, but like because I guess he was pointing it and he pulled the trigger and the trigger had a real bullet in it and it shot the cinematographer and killed her. And that's how that happened, but he didn't know.
I don't know the entire story, but if that was in the scene, like that... You know,
well, no, they weren't shooting a scene. That's the thing. He killed the cinematographer for the movie.
Ew.
So, like, he was holding the gun. I guess he was just playing around with it, like, feeling it out, and he accidentally fired it.
Why would there be a live round?
Well, this is where the questions come in, is how did a live round slip in there? So the way this works is they get bullets... Because they're dummy bullets. They get the dummy bullets from the same place you get real bullets. So sometimes, accidentally, a real bullet slips in there. This has happened before. So, but they
That's what happened in The Crow, right?
Yeah, but they have people who are supposed to check these bullets individually before they get put in the gun to make sure that this mistake doesn't happen.
Right.
They're saying that they weren't following safety protocols, and that's the reason why this slipped in. Now, I agree with you. Like, it should never have gotten Alec Baldwin, that bullet. So,
no, it shouldn't have.
You know. Yes, he pulled the trigger, but it shouldn't have gone that far.
Right, but again, I don't know the details of the story. If
no, I don't know the full details.
The camera wasn't rolling and they were just walking around on set and he pulled the trigger. That's a little bit of a different story. However, still, if they're blanks, you know, you're not taking too much care of...
No, the only way you can get killed by a blank is the way was it Freddie Prinze Jr.'s father? Somebody on a show was fucking around with a gun, put a blank to his head, like this, kidding around, didn't know that there's still gunpowder and stuff in there, fired in his head, killed himself.
Really?
Completely by accident, yeah. I don't remember who the actor was, I just know it was on a pretty popular show, the guy just died, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because there's still, because when you fire a blank, it's still...
that's what makes a sound.
Yeah.
But there's no, I forget what they take, I guess whatever propels out of it is...
Yeah, if you hold it close enough to your head, probably shouldn't do that. Not the smartest thing to do.
No. Anyway, in closing, now that we've strayed from the path.
Yeah, but this was a James Bond review, right?
I think so, yeah.
I guess next week is going to be Thunderball, and I was thinking maybe the week after that we take a week off and do the first Fast and Furious movie if we have some time.
Fast and Furious? Ooh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Austin Powers.
Well, we can do that too.
Why are we doing Fast and Furious?
Well, because May 19th is when Fast 10 comes out, and you wanted to pepper the... We only have a couple months. There was a time Matt didn't know all 12 months of the year in order. He thought the year started with September.
Well, technically, the year did start in September when you went to school.
That's just not how that works. That's how your school year started.
Okay, you eat a cookie with two hands.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? I got some flack for that this week, but still, you thought the school year would determine the year.
It did for me.
Okay.
Didn't for you?
I knew the year started January 1st.
Well, my year started in September when I went back to school. And the new school year, new year.
It makes sense as a kid.
Of course it makes sense.
But I mean, it's just that's not how it works. Then again,
exactly
time is relevant anyway. So
it's not exactly how it works.
No. So yeah, I was thinking we don't got much time. We have 9 Fast movies we got to fit in here too to watch, and I feel like your energy will be a lot more up for Fast and Furious.
I will be way more excited when we get into the Fast and Furious movie, or even if we pepper in Austin Powers somewhere along the way.
Well, yeah, I want to just give you a break because Matt, is having a hard time with this, and I'd feel a little bit guilty because these are definitely more of John movies, these early Connery ones, than they are Matt movies.
Right, yeah.
So if you know our tastes, this is a little bit rough for Matt, and he starts to get a little antsy watching movies like this every week. So if I can give him a break here and there, I will.
It's getting expensive for me.
What's getting expensive?
Watching these Connery movies because I get fucking bored, and then I end up going on my phone and ordering stacks of fucking Blu-rays.
You did the last 2 weeks. You have bought movies while watching a James Bond.
Yes, multiple.
Now you're gonna have to pull the trigger on the Fast and Furious 4Ks if we're gonna do those soon.
Yeah. The next Connery movie.
Yeah, got him next week for Thunderball. Alright guys, that's going to do it for us here on Half-Ass Movie Reviews. My name is John, and as always, my short bald friend is Matt, and this was Goldfinger. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you like this channel, nothing helps out more than by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, subscribing to us on all podcast services, giving us a 5-star rating, and after you're done doing all that, grab some gold, run out in the street, and tell all your friends about us.
And go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.